Good morning, guys. So today this is our first vlog over here, and our channel name you already know, The Heart of Kumaun, in which we are going to cover different stories of Kumaun, where we are going to cover its culture, language, food, clothing, and today specifically we are going to talk about the importance of language and food, and how it has been changed over the period of time. And since it is our first vlog over here on this channel, and now you will be getting more videos in the offing, and stay tuned, and let's begin our journey. I'm in my village. My village name is Rahul. So today we are going to talk about the culture of Uttarakhand, and today I'm with Devesh. Devesh, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Absolutely well, thank you very much. So we've got some questions for Devesh, and who is keen on culture, and he takes interest in culture, language, and different aspect of culture. And so this is our first video, and okay, let's begin with. So Devesh, how's your journey been so far?
Journey was quite amazing, and it was good to land into the village area, because I live in an area which is not a village, not particularly not a city, but it is at the junction. So yesterday I came here, and it was a fruitful journey for me. Until now I have been learning so many new things. I have been meeting new people, so it is all good, sir.
Yeah. So Devesh, you were born and brought up over here in Uttarakhand. Specifically, they're talking about Pithagarh region. So my first question to you about what are something that define a culture apart from music, language?
Yeah, actually a good question, pretty good question, that what defines a culture. I think not a single means monotonously we cannot define a culture, right? If you want to define a culture, we have to go broad. It is because culture in itself is a very broad term.
Yeah.
It is all because it can be because of belief, custom, your rituals, your religion, language, how you live, how you eat, how you act, how you think.
Yeah.
Everything is part of our culture. Not our culture, but if in total, if I talk in a journalistic way, so culture is a very broad thing. Even how we walk, how we dress, actually that is also part of a culture. But as far as the things are concerned, that culture is something which is a way of life, and the way of life means that what we do actually. Yeah, it is all about.
Yeah, definitely. And the second question that I would like to ask you is about culture itself. Is, as we know that culture is really important. And why do you think culture is important?
See, today our society is a melting pot of so many cultures. We know that we are living in an era where there is a fusion of so many ideologies, so many thoughts, there are numerous things, so many cultures. So in today's era, to make our lives more better, to make ourselves to make ourselves a more complete personality, I think that's why culture plays a very vital and important role. I would like to put an example that see how culture makes our life better. This is a simple thing. That nowadays we have seen the influx of the Europeans in the Uttarakhand itself, not in Uttarakhand, specifically in the Kumaun and Galwal region. They are coming here. Why? Because they want to live a life. They want to set their own examples.
Yes.
That's why if we go to another place, not to a foreign country, but to a different part of our country, we see what is the condition actually. So that makes ourselves a kind of broad person. That makes our more rational, more our mindset becomes more intellect, and we make our personality becomes open. And I think for a person it is very important, it is pertinent to have a open and broad mindset.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer, definitely, Devesh. So Devesh, I would like to ask you a different question regarding the same. Since we talk about the language is a soul of a culture, I think you agree.
Indeed.
If you see our own culture, like since we live in Kumaun, and we'll talk about the Kumaun region itself. As you must have seen, a kind of it's a like, if you see the language, then you will find that people now speaking English and people are speaking more Hindi. It's a dramatic change if you have seen it's over the period of time. So what do you think? What will be the impact of it?
See, you have a very good question, because the condition of Kumauni is not good currently. If you search, you will find that under the category of UNESCO, Kumaun is a language which is about to extinct.
Yeah.
There are so many less number of people they are actually speaking Kumauni, because now there is a dominance of Hindi or other languages.
Yeah.
That is good, but now people have totally abandoned this particular language. So I think that is something. This is something problematic, I would say, about our culture, because language is the backbone of any culture. If you don't have language, then what is the way of communication? And if we are following the other parts of our culture, and the soul of that is our language, as you rightly mentioned, we are not using that language and we are using something else. It means that all other things are redundant. All the things have been redundant if we are not using the particular language. So about language, the beauty of Kumauni or the beauty of the Garhwali is that this is not a particular language. It is a kind of, there is a difference in dialect, because if I go by the definition, a language should have its own, its own grammar, its own, its own parameters.
Yeah.
But our Hindi in itself, Hindi has no grammar. It is a part of Sanskrit actually. Same goes with our Kumauni and Garhwali language. More often we should call it a dialect.
Yeah.
So, but there is a difference and there is a complexity in the dialect. If you go to 20 kilometers away from here, the dialect and the tone will be completely changed, and the pronunciation will automatically change. So this is, language in itself is a beauty, and I think that linguistic is a subject which is very interesting. It is very interesting to work upon the language part, linguism part, because I earlier mentioned, and you also talked very beautifully, that language is the soul of any culture. It is the backbone, and I think we must take some steps to have more knowledge about the language.
Yeah, definitely, that's a very good answer. And if you see the what is something that's that binds us together, since we live in Kumaun, Uttarakhand.
Yeah.
And language is one thing that binds us together.
Yeah, binds that.
And apart from it, what have you seen over the period of time?
We are a part of society, and I think society, man by nature is a social animal. It is aptly said by our, means the person. So I think Socrates said that. So religion is something which binds us. Religion is something which gives us a sense to look something which is not in our control. That is a transcendental thing. And to look towards the transcendental thing, I think that culture is also one. Culture is a thing which gives us that privilege. And I think apart from language, what binds ourselves, I think that is the religion part.
Yeah.
I would say I have certain examples that means our religion or our half of our culture is derived from our religion. Means what we do actually, we are doing everything for our religion. Let's take a simple example of agriculture. We have a different kind of agriculture, although there is no productivity is very low, but whatever we are going for because we want to devote that to our what to call it, Kul Devta or the local deity.
Yeah.
Because local deity has become a part and parcel of our life.
Yeah, definitely.
I think not in Kumaun, not even in Kumaun, but also in the Garhwal region, the religion, our deities, God and goddesses, that has become, that was very important part of life, and that is it. And currently, it will be always that the deities, religion, culture, rituals, that is very important, and that ultimately binds us. Whenever there is a festival is going on, people they forget about other things. They talk only about the unity. They talk only about one thing, that is the spirituality or the religious element. And I think when people are neglecting other thoughts and they have only single thought of serving the deity, serving their gods and goddesses, I think that is thing which binds
it
us.
Also brings us together, like occasionally we have puja and then different kind of Nainak we call also in Hindi.
Certainly,
so and then we come together, and irrespective of our gender and
caste and everything. Means at that time we don't talk about that thing, that what's your caste, what's your even at that time we forget about our religion. But that if some other people is coming to that, we neglect to ask about, because we know that if a person is coming, that he must be having something inside him or her that brought him to that close to that deity or close to that temple,
in front of that almighty that we are have that
because all the people, when the people come there, they are bowing down, and that has something to do. When you go to when you bow down in the front of Almighty, I think it is the supreme energy of him which brought any individual, which brings any individual closer to that.
I just want to take your little bit further this discussion.
Sure.
So what is the most important thing that you think our culture has given to the world? A bit complicated, I think, this question. But
this is a bit complicated, but I think as far as our culture being concerned, we belong to Kumaun.
Yeah.
And your channel name is the Heart of Kumaun. Yeah. And I think in the heart of Kumaun is, apart from religion, the one thing lies, that is the courage, that is the bravery, that is the bravery and chivalry.
That's true, definitely.
This means not just Kumaunis but all the Pahadi people. Yeah. The courage has courage in the central part of their personality, in their behavior. Everywhere there is a culture, because they are living in a terrain which is where sustenance is very difficult. You have to work very hard. If you want to get the water, you have to work hard. If you want to go to any shop, you have to work hard, because you are not a kind of pampered. Nobody lived a pampered life in the hills, especially.
Definitely.
So I think what we gave to other people, that we gave the innocence. We people are still very innocent. And other than that, when I talk about culture and courage, when I talk about the courage, earlier I talked about courage, I would like to take the name of late Victoria Cross winner Gabbar Singh Negi and Darban Singh Negi. And in 1915, in the France, there is a place called Neuve Chapel. So Gabbar Singh Negi, he was the first person who was representing the British army back then, and he's from Tehri Garhwal actually. Okay. So he sacrificed he immortalized himself there. Yeah. And you will not believe that the whole British Empire applauded him, and he was awarded by Victoria Cross, and he was the first person who was awarded by the same. So not just a single example afterward, Darban Singh Negi, and after independence we have seen the valor of Kumaunis and Garhwalis during the First and Second World War. Apart from it, 1947, 1949, 1962. Yeah. So 1919 Kargil War, 1971, everywhere our people have represented themselves in so many, in across every nook and corner of the world when it came to show our courage. Because, and I think that the reason from the courage, why our people are so courageous, the reason was very simple, because they come from a place where you have to live, where living in itself is a courage. If you don't have courage, you can't live there. Yeah. So I think this is the thing, that the bravery, the chivalry, and that attitude of surviving in hostile atmosphere or weather, that thing we gave to other people, and still people are coming to Uttarakhand, the villages of Uttarakhand, to explore that, but that thing, that how people live there actually.
Yeah, indeed, definitely. So now we are coming to the food part.
Okay.
And this is like something we are actually famous for also. Yeah. People come here and bhatki chudkani, vadwa gi roti. So Devesh, what is your favorite food from
I would, when it comes to food, I have everything. So when it comes to everything, my plate, everything is become my favorite. Yeah. Because I know, I respect the people. I respect the hard labor of the people.
If you have to tell our audience there.
Yeah, because
they can taste.
When you come here, you have. If you get a single piece of chapati, that is very tasty, because that is earned by our people. Yeah. That is earned by our people, because here the productivity is low. Here the problem of water is also there, but still people are growing that. Why? Because earlier I told you the connection with the deity and connection. So I think everything is tasty here. Everything about food is very tasty here. So if I have to mention, and I would definitely say bhatki chudkani is something which is very close to my heart. Other than that, madhve ki roti, which is this year is being celebrated as International Year of Millets. So, but ragi, how come we should forget ragi? It is nutritious, it is rich in fiber, it is rich in calcium. So that is something which is very close to my heart. Apart from that, a thing is called dubka of gahat, because that is the rich in protein. That thing is very rich in protein. And the traditional meat of our Uttarakhand, that is the bhutwa and panchola. And that is something which is very unique. I heard from people, I heard from a people from Assam. He was from Assam and he was telling me, okay, you are from Kumaun. I said yes. Okay, तुम्हारे यहाँ भुटवा पंचोला होता है. I said yes. मैंने कहा, how come do you know about that? He said to me that some of the Kumaunis with me and I served with them, and they gave me one day they did that, means they prepared the panchola and bhutwa. So people acknowledged that part, that how tasty and how beautiful that was, and something that is very unique from our culture.
So food is also an essential thing. Like
food is very
just
essential
to take a food out there and then actually introduce your culture to them. And they actually understand. Okay, this is like, as you rightly mentioned about how this bhutwa can also be kind of our identity.
Sure, sir. And one more thing, because earlier you asked about that what we gave to our people, that we are giving them the taste of our food, because our thing is very new, because our thing is organic, it is pure, and I think it is very healthy. And so many initiatives are there from private people and from the government, and I think it is very good to boost our culture, because our land is made for the foods which are also tough. Our foods are also tough, and it makes you more tougher after having the food.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
So if you see that our own culture, our language changes. Like within 100 kilometers, you will find a completely different culture.
Yeah. This is sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I really want to take your view. That what do you think about it? Like, have you experienced any sort of this cultural shift within 100 kilometers?
Culture totally shifts in a span of 100 kilometers. Like here, if we are at this place, this is the Rawal Khet, and if we travel barely 18 to 20 kilometers, the tone will completely change. Some of the words will be there which we have never heard of about the things.
We say that hum pani pite hain, they will say pani ko pani.
Means there are pani as well as they are calling it pani, but their way of saying it is totally different. So that I think this is very complex. And this is very it is very intricate to discuss about that. But I think geography has to do with that part. I think geography and Pani, this thing in Pithoragarh we call Pani, but in Gangoli Hat or in the entire belt of Gangoli Hat, Berinag, Bageshwar, we call it Pani. And in Almora they also call it Pani. So I think that the marital connection I think that can be a reason.
Also the tone. Because if a people living in Pithoragarh and he married to a girl living in Lohaghat, so definitely the there will be a shift of tone. There will be shift of there will be exchange of words. And I think our dialect totally changes, not just in 100 kilometers, in just 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers. I think that has to do with our geography, that has to do with our tradition, that what people actually think about them. If I talk about myself, then my village is, my actual village is Pabya, Berinag. And there, the language of those people, the language of the people living there is totally different. But I spent my early childhood with my maternal parents. So they live in Pithoragarh, and in Pithoragarh, the language of Pithoragarh, there is a touch of Nepali language. If you speak to any Nepali, so Nepali will the person from Nepal will automatically get that, okay, this language is very similar to us. Even though I would like to share one thing with you. Pawandeep Rajan, he sang a song very beautiful about Hoga Tumse Pyara Kaun, because earlier part of that was related to Nepali. So in comment section, all the people from the Nepal, they were sharing the heart and the flowers, because they were so happy that our language was very close to the language of Pithoragarh.
And here the language is the similarity of language is much more towards the Almora region, because we are living in the eastern part and they people are living in the, and there is a shift.
So since we are already talking about the importance of it, of a language, so what is the significance of a language for a culture?
I think language binds. First and foremost thing is that language is the only thing which binds us. Earlier I said that religion is something which binds us. That binds us at a primary level. Because if there is a gathering, if there is a religious setting, if you go there, it means that this is the first indication that you are assimilated with the people. You are going to assimilate with the people. But how? Means you have assimilated, you know that, but now actual part is that how? Means being there is your presence. If there is your presence, it is not the complete one. You have to act. You have to catch the human psychology there. I think that can be caught only by the language. If no matter how good I am, but if I am not communicating with other individuals, so how will I get to know that what they think, what they do, what they act, what is life for them, how they survive, how they sustain. So I think if we don't know language, if there is no language, there will be communication barrier. But if we are good at language, if we are good with our tongue, I think we have immense chances of learning, because we have that power. And I think if the culture is a log, language is a key. You can only know about the culture if you have the language. The simple thing I would like to give the example to our audience is that when Max Muller came here, first he learned Persian, then he learned Sanskrit, he learned all total languages, the regional languages. He was well versed in the vernacular languages too. So when he was so much educated, when he had that confidence that now I can write about I can write about the Indian history too. So I think that makes some sense, that because you can't know about any places, the history of any place, the culture of any place, unless or until you don't know about the language part of it.
It's really important to be connected to your roots.
Definitely, sir.
And then I have seen people where actually they are migrated for certain reasons. It can be like the lack of health facilities, and it can be the education facilities. But then they go, and then when they come back, they just forget the language. Like that is Kumaun. And I don't know if they feel shamed or whatever. Like there are can be certain reasons there. But is there anything you would like to say to our audience about why is it important to feel and be connected to your roots, where you were born and brought up?
See, where one thing it was said by somebody that never forget your roots, never forget from where you came from. If you forget that where you came from, means you have lost your identity. And once you lose your identity, you are no longer into the battle of humanity. So humanity in itself is a very broad term, but humanity it starts from the identity. If we are carrying the identity that everyone is our brother, so it means that is the part of humanity. Same thing goes with our culture, same thing goes with our language. If we are ashamed of using our language, if we are ashamed of using our clothing, I think definitely it is a blot. It is a blot on our culture. It is a blot on I would say it is a shame for the people who lived their life, in our heritage, because our ancestors, they did a very great job, because at that time how they survived. If we go back to the history, then we will get to know that the life was not very beautiful with them, life was not very good with them, but the one thing was there were so many challenges, but they preserved the life, they preserved our culture, they preserved our language, our rituals. But now our generation is not respecting that. If our generation is not respecting that, it means that we are not respecting the sacrifice of our ancestors. So because we can't give them proper respect, because they are gone. Once we gone, you gone. But the only way to pay our homage, to pay our respect with respect to the things which our ancestors did, is to follow the culture. It is no piece of shame. I am living in Uttarakhand. 90% of time I speak in Kumaun. I speak in Pahari language. It is a matter of pride for me. It is a matter of sense for me.
Indeed.
It gives me a knowledge. It gives me a boost.
Yes.
Wherever I go, I use most of the time I talk in Kumaun. I talk I try to, although people don't get it, but I try. I make them understand. Okay, I come from that place, and there it means that means this means that.
Yeah.
So because this gives me a sense of pride. This gives me a sense of a belongingness or happiness, and that is a higher purpose of my life, to get to know more about our culture and connect it to my roots. So ultimate message to the audience will be that there is no point of shaming. There is no point of shaming. Open yourself, express yourself, because more you open yourself, you are more rational, and you are more about humanity. You know more about culture. And one thing is one more important thing, that we represent India, and India is not a single country. India is a country with so many countries, and here the chances of survival, the chances of mutualities becomes very high when you are multidimensional, when you become multicultural. So open yourself, but you will open yourself when you open your language to other people. I think this is my message to the audience.
Now our audience must be thinking that we are covering the whole lot of stories in English. It does not mean that we don't know Kumauni, and we'll have a little bit of dialogue in Kumauni also. So देवेश तो दिल्ली आए यहाँ कुछ हमारे गांव में, तो कश लाग्छ त्यो यहाँ?
बहुत बढी लाग्छ, किनकि मतलब गाउँमा हुन त यस्तो छ कि मतलब म हमेशा खुसी रहूँ गाउँमा हुन्थेन, लेकिन अब यस्तो कि थोड़ा एलमा अपनी एक स्टूडेंट लाइफ छ, तो उखिन थोड़ा जो काम है करन पर्छ, म उस करम दियो यार, किनकि उले के यो छ कि जसके हमारो उमा छ न कि धर्म को धर्म, तो उले के धर्म को एक पार्ट छ, किनकि एल अगर मैं मेहनत न कर लो तो फिर भोलाक दिन फिर मैं ऐसे सोचन पड़ लो ना, तो एल जी मेरे हाथ में छ वो कर दिन में मैच जब फेंच। अब बिल में आया हूँ तो इस लागत में जनी मैं मतलब बहुत टाइम बाद में आई हूँ और बहुत कुछ सीखन के यहाँ जा रत्ते बैठे, मतलब मैं बिजी हूँ, लेकिन इस लागत में कि मतलब करने की बहुत कुछ है, करने की बहुत कुछ है। और सबने अच्छी बात है कि मतलब आनंद से है, अकेले की चीज़ कर तुम बैठ तो मिल जा उल्ले जा आनंद से, लेकिन यो आनंद और जगह ना आती। यो से कि तुम कहाँ लेकर हो मैं रुन में खान में तक ये समस्या ना आती, लेकिन सपने ठुल चीज़ है कि तुमन कतुक आनंद उमरी कतुक मतलब तुम्हारी जो है ना तुम्हारी उपस्थिति कतुक से कतुक आदि मन था तुम लमझा, तो एक आध चीज़ छन मतलब कि जो तुमन जब नज़दीक विनान तो चीज़न का तुम्हार की विचार छनी में अगर।
हाँ, गाँव में तो बहुत बढ़िया व्यू। मेन कारण यूँ है कि गाँव यहाँ पे आदमी शहर में जाना नौकरी करने थे वो करने थे, लेकिन फिर लौट आवन यहाँ क्यों आप शुद्ध बन से यहाँ शुद्धि हवा सब कुछ बढ़िया से यहाँ। सो ऑडियंस विल बी देयर एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड फॉर टेकिंग योर टाइम फ्रॉम योर बिजी शेड्यूल एंड बीइंग हियर, and it's we can talk a lot about our culture. We can talk a lot about the language, food. We could not even cover the clothing, how it has changed. We'll definitely come to our next episode where we'll be talking about different things, different aspect of a culture. And thank you very much and stay tuned, and we will be back soon.